Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be reviewing the book Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne. So we were supposed to choose a book, doing this book speed dating kind of thing that we were going to do a book vlog on. And I had a lot of questions at first. I didn't know what type of book I wanted to choose or what type of book I wanted to read. And so I went into that with kind of an open mind, and I saw this book's cover. It's a couple of characters standing on the roof of some sort of building with smoke in the background, or in front of them, and it caught my attention because most of the other books were either giant letters or words across explaining a certain title, but you could almost understand the title, and with this it confused me and it made me have questions, and so I chose this book. Alright, so my first impressions of the book. So when I read the inside, it drew me in even more. Emmy Laybourne, she did a great job with describing the many characters that are in this book, and the setting also that's in this book. This book takes place in the close to near future. It's not too far away. It doesn't give us an exact date, but it's not a real world. It's a fiction world. And what happens in it is the book it takes on the view of Dean, who's a 16-year-old boy who he doesn't have too many friends. He's a bit of an odd person. He's got a couple hobbies. One of them is writing, actually, and he gets on his bus every morning to go to school, and during that, a massive hailstorm starts happening with everyone on the bus, and then their bus ends up crashing, and much of them get injured, and the ones that don't help their teacher get a new bus, and then they end up driving to a store, kind of like a supermarket called Greenway, and in this Greenway they park in there with their broken bus, and from there the teacher goes to get help and never returns. And so it's up to the children, there's 14 of them, to, it's kind of their job to ensure their safety during these many, kind of disasters that go on during the book. So let's talk about characters now. So we have Dean. I already explained him. I'd say the next would be Nico, because in the book Nico takes a very, role. He takes the leader of kind of everything going on, even though he's only in grade 8 while the rest are grade 10. The rest of the more kind of take charge kids are grade 10, and Nico has a lot of survival experience. He was a Boy Scout. He still is a Boy Scout, and that allows him to it helps him when surviving with inside of the store. And Nico, he sort of likes this character Josie, and he finds it a struggle because Josie's she's more of a mothering character, and she finds Nico very plain and boring. Josie is she got injured in the bus ride, and so she wasn't a big part of the book in the beginning chapters. But later on, Josie becomes the mother almost of the small children that were on the bus. And Josie, she kind of, she's the take charge. She sets up a meeting to elect a leader, because before she came along, it was just a bunch of teenagers yelling at each other. And she helps gain order and keep the little kids at bay. Next we should talk about Jake. Jake is, he was appointed leader by the teacher until she was gone. But obviously that didn't hold through, because Jake is a very, He reminds me of someone who doesn't listen. He's very strong, same with his friend Brandon, and they kind of he's hard to explain because his idea is fun is, marijuana or items like that, and he doesn't do that well with leading. And during the election too, he seems like a fair character, but in the end he really turns out to be someone who doesn't care. All right, next let's talk about Brayden, his friend. Brayden is he's 16, like the rest of the characters that I've talked about so far. He's strong like Jake. He plays football with Jake actually, and him and Josie have a sort of relationship in the middle of the book somewhere, and because of this, it creates tension between Brayden and Nico, and therefore it creates tension between every one of the characters that have a mind to speak for themselves. And Brayden, he's an oddball like Jake too. He doesn't care too much about their well-being. He doesn't have the greatest ideas too, and his idea of a fun time is along with Jake's. Right, let's talk about Alex, Dean's brother. Alex is also in grade 8 along with Nico, and Alex, he's very crafty. He's really good with technology, and because of it, he helps them get a TV online to figure out what's going on outside, and he kind of Alex is. At the beginning of the book, Alex and Dean got along great. They worked together as a team of siblings, but later on in the book, Alex and Nico formed a good friendship, and Dean almost was invisible to Alex. This created a lot of tension and affected how the end of the book turned out. But during while they were inside of the store, Alex was a very important part, actually. He helped get together most of the technology that they used in the store. He helped with cooking and many of the other aspects to run this kind of little civilization that these children have made in the store. All right, now Sahalia. Sahalia is an odd person. Sahalia, she really just wants to be respected and treated like an adult, although with her personality, even though she wants to be treated like one, she doesn't act like one at all. She's very childish, and she doesn't care about their well-being at all. In fact, her first suspicion when they got into the store was to get out as quick as possible and just go to whatever. So for the first bit of the book, she didn't play a role at all because she was off trying to find a way to get out of the store. But she was locked in by something that I'll talk about later here, and that kind of affected how she played. And then later on in the book, she kind of started toying with the boys to get them to respect her using kind of sexual aspects, and it didn't work well in the long run, and by the end, Sahalia and Josie really ended up not liking each other, and that created a lot of tension. Astrid is very, very interesting. She's, as described in the book, a really pretty 16-year-old teen, and she really likes Jake, but she had a problem in the book. I'll bring this up now. See, one of the disasters that happens in the book is a chemicals plant that's mixing warfare chemicals spills close to where they work. It's called NORAD, and that attacks blood types, and the different blood type, the different effects. So if you're a blood type O, you'll turn crazy, and you'll start attacking everything and hurting everyone around you. As if you're blood type B, you become sterile. Things like that. And Astrid, along with Dean, they're both blood types O. So in the beginning, when Josie was injured and unable to do really much anything, Astrid was the mother until the chemical leaked into the store, and she started hurting a lot of the kids, and that made her to go crazy. And because of that, she stopped hanging with the main group, and she turned to creating a little kind of base of her own, or no one knew where she was, in the store on top of a shelf, and she didn't really play too much of a role throughout much of the book. She was there in the very beginning as kind of a really mean character, and then she was there in the end too. In the middle, you caught the words of her, like they'd bring breakfast out to her every once in a while, but they didn't know where she was, so they'd put it someplace. There's another part where Dean catches Jake and Astrid talking, and she plays a big role though in the book, in the final outcome of what happens. The main characters, there's a couple characters that come and go, but that was the meat and potatoes right there. So the plot of the book is, like I said, I introduced the beginning, and after they get stuck in the store, the Greenway, a bunch of disasters happen. A huge tsunami hits the west side of America, and that affects a lot of the cities over there. And then because of it, the hail happened, and then from the hail came the release of chemicals and a massive earthquake. Now, all of this happening, a lot of bad things ended up happening, and so these kids are limited to inside the store. And because of that, the amount of character on character is very, very intense. And this plot almost, it allows for a good setup of connections and interactions between the characters. Overall, I truly enjoyed the book. I thought the writer, she had a very good view on teenagers, feelings and how they would react to certain situations. And I'd have to say that there were a few places I didn't understand if it was first person or third person view from the character Dean. But you know what? Overall, I really enjoyed the book. If we were doing a rating system, I'd give it an 8, 9 out of 10. And I truly enjoyed it. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you again.